Stuart Stone and Adam Rodness, the directors and writers and producers of Faking a Murderer. Now, this is a very unique horror film, horror comedy. I absolutely love this. I'm watching it and I'm like giggling the whole time because it's made up like a documentary type thing, and these two filmmakers are kind of going out on a limb here and doing something totally different from what they're used to doing, and they're gonna go and they think they found this murderer, and things just get crazy from there. The interactions that they have with their family as they're presenting what they're going to do, and just all the people they meet on the way and the murder. It's just bananas. So Stu and Adam, welcome to Where the Scary Things Are. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good after that review.
I'm doing pretty good. That was actually a great introduction. So MonsterMash Ken, kudos to you.
Hey, thanks, man. Hey, you know what? We're number one in Australia, if that means anything. So hopefully they're listening.
It means everything. It means everything.
It's so random where people listen to our show, and we get these crazy high numbers. In Canada too, actually. Stu, I know that you're in Toronto. We have a really good audience in Toronto. One show we did, Psycho Gorman.
Yeah, I love that movie.
We were like, yeah, I loved it, right? We did awesome in Canada. So we have a really good Canada fan base. Adam, where are you from? Where are you calling from?
I'm also a Canadian native. My hometown's Thornhill, Ontario, Canada, but now I do reside in Toronto as well.
You know, I got excited because I thought you were Shia LaBeouf for a second, and I got really excited. That's an inside joke. So when you watch the movie, you'll get that. So you guys put together this movie, Stuart and Adam. You guys played a lot of, or you wore a lot of hats, and you were also the stars of the movie. Let's talk about how you guys came to bring this to life. Like, where did this idea come from?
Yeah, I think it started off, being true crime fanatics ourselves, watching shows like The Jinx and Staircase, Making a Murderer, Evil Genius, and we're like, this stuff is just too good. Like, it's so good that it has to be produced. Like, it has to be, someone had to have conceptualized this idea, written it, and like made it for TV. And that's when it kind of clicked. It's like, hey, why don't we try to do our own social experiment, concoct our own serial killer, and then use real people to push the narrative forward and create this true crime phenomenon of our own.
I have to ask, when you guys are filming this, and there was this, I guess, towards the beginning of the movie, and I guess a lot of the interactions you had and you were having during the movie, was it acting, or were you guys really like playing jokes on people? Because it was like the family scene, for instance, and how was that real? I had to ask.
100% real. There's a real sort of magic to this movie that it is mostly real people in the movie. Our family, all of those things that you love that you mentioned in the introduction are all real people who really are not aware of what the hell we're doing. Keep in mind, we had just done a documentary called Jack of All Trades, which was a baseball card documentary that was did pretty well for us. So people were sort of used to seeing us with cameras around that are in our life, and they just assumed we were making more documentaries, and everybody got taken for a ride on this thing. So 100% real.
But it was done. But it was done with taste. Like we had to. We did it so that people would still kind of love us at the same time, but we didn't want to make them seem that we were filming a movie, right? It was just having a natural conversation. So whenever we went to go meet with someone or interview somebody, it would be, we wouldn't have a clapper and, work a slate and call the roll. We would just start casually talking and like use code words so that our crew knew when to start rolling so that we could actually dive into our scene that would need to take place. So it was a crazy little mixed up world.
Yeah, the worst thing you could do is like rely on people who aren't actors to act. Then people will be able to sniff right through that, right? And you'll just call BS when you're watching the movie. So the best approach was to have nobody act and have everybody be real. I mean, there's a scene in the movie with our assistant. I don't know if you recall the scene where she goes and looks in the trunk of a car looking for. I mean, that was all real. Like, she really did that. And she went we were in the middle of the night in the middle of the woods, and she really did that. insane. It was so
There
cool.
are also there's also other instances where there were, as Stu mentioned, a handful of actors, but all those actors,
Yeah, even they didn't know.
no one was given like an actual script, right? Like we had like a beat sheet that Stu and I sold to the broadcaster, and then we would kind of guide what we wanted to get out of the scene. But the entire movie was improv. Every single last bit, whether it was with a professional actor or a ringer, as we like to call them, to a man or woman off the street.
So on that note, I did have to ask you go out and you you guys had to hire a private investigator, right? And were those real too? Those guys were real investigators, and were they real?
Yeah, I mean
The first guy was like an actual investigator that did like the Stephen Avery case in making
Really?
Murder.
Well, he worked on the Innocence Project,
Yeah.
Brian. So he was definitely the real deal, 100% the real deal. Where it's like we're kind of nervous giving him too much information because we don't want him to like do his investigating thing and find out what we're doing right now is bullshit.
Wow.
It was intense.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I was laughing at the interactions, and when they start telling you the prices, you're like $100,000. Like, what the hell? So when you guys were there was a couple of scenes I want to ask about, then I'm going to pass it on. For instance, like the film festival, right? Did you guys actually shoot that at the Toronto at that film festival? And you guys were with the what? It's bananas.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's the trick to these things. You got to do it for real. I mean, you gotta go out and do it, and we did.
And a lot of the stuff too that you see is like that TIFF scene was like a last minute entry into our beat sheet. Like we got word that Hollywood Suite, our broadcaster, was holding an event, and we're like, oh, we should film it just in case. And it turned out to be like one of like the most memorable scenes of the film. But
I can only imagine. So you guys are, all obviously in the scenes together a lot. Are you guys really good friends in real life, or how do you guys know each other?
My brother-in-law in real life. He married my sister in real life. Like all of that was real. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, this is not acting. It's real.
So
it's very meta.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, were you guys playing jokes on each other? Because I mean, I remember like there was a scene I was laughing my ass off when I think Adam, you were sitting in the chair a little bit higher, and then the guy, Stu's putting like the cushions on the chair. I think it's like, is this okay with it? I'm just like laughing. So I'd imagine like little jokes going along. Were you guys like making fun of each other like behind the scenes and stuff like that? Yeah.
Well, we are both 5'7", and so it's our company's called 5'7" Films. That's real also. We like to make jokes because Adam thinks he's not 5'7", he thinks he's 5'8". So he's always got to be tall. He's always, even in the
hair,
even in the poster, he made his image just slightly bigger. Like he refuses to accept the fact that he's a 5'7" man. But
Stu refuses the fact just to exercise and work out and get muscles. So that's that's where we see each other, right there, right there and there, even playing field. But to go back to the question that you asked, we met when 20 years ago. We've been working together unofficially for 15 years. We've been officially working together for the past 8 years on stuff, and our company's just about 6 years old together. But yeah, we're family. We're best friends. We fight like brother and brother, sometimes brother and sister. And it's a duel to the death as always.
Well, I think it made for a good movie because you can tell the chemistry was there with you guys, and it's like almost like a sibling rivalry. You got, and like when you pull up in a convertible or whatever, you're like, what are you doing? This is what investigators drive. I was like that rolling. But I just want real quick before I hand it over to Muse, I just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat room on YouTube, live on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Definitely check out this movie, Faking a Murder, when it comes out. We're going to pass it on over to Muse with her questions. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, oh my goodness. I cannot even tell you how much I love this movie. I'm buying this when it comes out, or if it's already available, I have to own this one because like I said, I was telling the guys before you got on that I was watching this at 5 a.m. and laughing so loudly. I think I woke up the whole house. So Ken kind of like stole a lot of my questions because a lot of it was we share the same brain. So I apologize.
Pretty much.
Lack of creativity here. But you guys played off each other so well. And when I was watching it, I was like, this is me and Ken if we ever went on some kind of like crazy thing, because we're like brother and sister. And there's a part where you guys are talking and Adam is staring at you, Stuart, in just the most I want to kill this guy way. Do you guys get into arguments like this in real life, or like does this go on, or did you really lay it on thick for the movie?
How about this? Before this interview, I'm like, where's the Zoom link? He said they sent the Zoom link. I said, I don't see the Zoom link. He's like, they sent it to you in the calendar. We get into like a swearing match at 6:59. He's like, you're checking now at 7 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, pull it up your page, Stuart.
They witnessed you yelling at me. Yes.
He was on mute. Stu was on mute, and you could tell the concern that and I kind of knew what was going on. And it's funny because about 30 minutes before the show started, Muse did the same shit to me.
Yes, this is us every freaking week. I'm like, Ken, did you send the link? What the fuck?
Did you say, like, I sent the goddamn link?
You know what's funny too is like we partner with like different production companies and creatives, and like it always seems that there's like an Adam and a Stu of like some other dimension, and they're like, that's our relationship. And you know what? I think like, listen, people, you get together. There's integrators, there's visionaries. Some people have more than each other, but you work well with each other. The fight and the creativity is because you care. It's because you care so much. And like, that's why it like takes over. It's like, this has to be good because it's us. This is what we put out there to the world. But I think also like you hit it there, Muse, we wanted to make a movie for like the every person where you're a fan of true crime. What would you do if you had the opportunity to find a serial killer? How would you treat the investigation?
How would you screw it up?
Right.
That's the question I would ask. Don't screw it up for us, Muse.
Right. I loved, like I said, I'm not going to ruin anything, but I have to tell everybody that is going to watch this movie, and I cannot stress enough how much you need to watch this film. Do not turn it off when the credits roll. Do not. You have got to see the end credits to this because it is just great. And I think we're in a time now where if you walk out before the credits roll, you're just missing out on something big anyway. But so I love it.
Funny that you mentioned that, because literally growing up, watching movies and going to the theater, like still to this day, obviously it's been a while since I've been in a movie theater, but to this day, like I stay to the end of every single movie I ever go to. I'm like Adam is already in the car with the car started. Like,
that's me.
Where are you?
Yep. Let's go.
Because like I just remember as a kid, I think it was I'm gonna say it was a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren. I accidentally like stayed till the end of the credits, and there was like a Skeletor like pops up at the end of the credits, and I'm like, oh my god! Like every movie
know that. I
has
have to go
this.
back and watch that.
I didn't
know
either.
that.
I'm like, every movie has this. And so not every movie has this, but there was like the Marvel Universe brought us some shawarma eating, and we do it in all of our movies. We always put stuff in our credits because of that, because we're film fans and we want to do stuff that we would like.
I love it. I'm a huge film fan as well, so I appreciated it, and I had so much fun with this film. So I have to ask you, were there any scenes that you left that you had to leave out for whatever reason that you wish you could put in, and you're just like, damn, why? I wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, there was actually like one major scene I remember. There were a few, but it was my birthday, and we're like, let's film my birthday party, and announce to all of our friends and family that we're going to go on this crazy investigation. And we had this like crazy montage with slow motion and a horror and, the thing confetti blasting at him,
we blew a bunch of
rain everywhere. And it was just like so much gratuitous nonsense that Stu and I loved, but the studio was like,
there was a lot of elements in the film, like of us spending money because we don't manage. Well, Adam doesn't manage the budget properly. One of them was a party. We also like rented, what do you call that? Like the camera mounted on the car. We just like spent senseless money on stuff that like didn't even get in the movie. And then I would say for me, it was very difficult. I mean, we shot 100 hours of footage for this movie. It's the final edit's not even 90 minutes. So tons of stuff is not in it. You could edit a whole other movie and tell a whole other story with the stuff that's not in it. But for me, I think like the stuff that we did with our assistant, like right now, you kind of meet her in the moment where she sort of steps up to be a hero. But in reality, we put her through the ringer. Like we took her on wild goose chases. She bought it the most. Like there used to be a lot more with her. Yeah, let's just say that.
Wow.
But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, every filmmaker has to edit stuff out that they don't want to edit out, I'm sure. And every single time we do a movie, there's definitely some sort of moment where we're arguing with somebody that we want to keep this or keep that. Maybe someday we'll win those arguments. But,
well, I'll tell you what, I would pay money to see all that you left out because I know it's hilarious. I know it's fantastic.
Well, maybe someday. Maybe
yes, I'm waiting.
We'll have the extras. We'll do the DVD extras, I promise.
Yes, at me on Twitter there.
No.
Sure. So I have to ask, I cannot think of his name, his real name, but he plays the guy you think is the killer in the movie. And I have to, how did you come across him? Because I was dead watching just the interaction with you guys with this actor. He was fantastic. I'm just interested in how he got involved and how you found him.
Yeah, his name is Tony Nappo. He's been in he's an incredible character actor that's been, in the Toronto scene for, I don't want to age him. But he's been around forever. Talented guy. Him and I did.
Very recognizable guy too.
Yeah. I was thinking that. Yeah.
He did. We did a movie together probably like 10 years ago and we just maintained friends. But when Stu and I were like, who are we going to get to play this guy? He's got to be someone inconspicuous because we don't want it to be, a known face. So I'm like, oh, I know this actor. Let's go meet with him. And we went to a cafe in Toronto in Little Italy.
And I was like, no, he's way too recognizable. Everyone's going to know this is the dad from Zombies.
Yeah. And then he goes, and then he's like, oh yeah, what about this? And he takes out his teeth and he's got 2 teeth hanging and that's it in his whole mouth. And Stu's like, well, will you do that? And he's like, oh yeah. Like, all right, you're hired.
It's so amazing because we went to industry events. We pitched to broadcasters. We pitched around like showing this guy's picture and like nobody spotted it. Like not one person called it. So he grew
a thick beard. He took out his teeth. We, schmuzzled him up, whatever that means, to make him look not who he is.
Shout out to Adam's mom for that.
And it worked. It worked. Exactly. Like the industry people had no idea. People that we talked to had no idea. But
the people who have cast him in movies
had no idea.
Had no idea it was him.
He was amazing.
I don't even think he knew it was him.
Right.
I'll tell you something really awesome. Like we haven't really told anybody this yet, but I guess we'll tell you guys since you love the movie. We actually put up YouTube channel like Bait and Tackle Mondays. He has a YouTube channel with his videos, the full videos of his confessions.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to find it.
Nobody even knows that it's out there. It's just been up there because when we were going to meet the police and going to meet people, we had to reference to show them that it was real. So we'd be like, yeah, we found the video. Here it is on YouTube. It's like we had to create this whole backstory that checked out. So nobody would think that it's bullshit, if I'm sorry for swearing, but you know what I mean?
We swear all the time. We encourage it.
Not only that, but we had to create backstories for everything because we had to carry this lie about this killer. We had to understand and memorize what we did last time and who we told what information to, or else it could have blown up in our face. And every time we went to go do a scene with somebody, you got one take. You got to kill it in one take. And if you don't, it's rude because we don't have the time or the money in real life.
It's funny. I kept fucking it up now that I'm swearing.
I love it.
I kept fucking it up because the guy who's our detective, who's like ends up kind of being our guy, I couldn't hold it together with that guy. He was just so funny. Every time he talked, Phil Jarrett. Yeah, Richard Lynn. Every time he said something, I laughed. I could not keep it together with him. He wanted to kill me in real life because he was like ready to go. He was all in. Everybody was in character at all times because even our crew didn't know really what was going on. So they thought we were just making a documentary about going to find a killer, even the crew, you know what I mean? So it was anybody that even played with us had to be that thing, So it was pretty awesome. I got to say, this is one of the most fun things that I've ever done.
Well, it's definitely a fun movie to watch, and like I said, when you said you couldn't keep it together, I would have been laughing the whole time. I'd have been fired the first day.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to go. You're costing too much money,
Luckily, they couldn't fire me.
right?
Almost. I was looking for doubles everywhere.
Well, I'm going to look for the Bait and Tackle YouTube link here.
Bait and Tackle Mondays. Don't touch the car.
You'll be the first one to check it out. But also, like, just to note too, like, this is a multi-watch film. If you've seen the movie and now you know about the movie after you've heard an interview or, kind of put it together yourself with your own common sense, you go back, you watch it a second time and start picking out, what's real, what's fake, what do these guys do, who's in on it, who's not. The third time you watch, it's a whole different film because you're seeing all the pieces come together.
That's like really all the clues like that we drop in there that you don't even realize, but we give away, like, if you really like look around, there's like, we planted the answer in the movie. It's all there. So hopefully people will watch it and it'll turn into some like drinking game or something.
I love that. I love that idea. I don't know when is the DVD out yet or the Blu-ray out yet?
Everything's going to be August 6th.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm buying this.
Yeah, it's definitely VOD and on demand first, and then probably a DVD will roll out at some point. But
if you're in Canada too, you could watch. For the Canadian listeners, we are on. You access the movie through Amazon Prime and Hollywood Suite in Canada.
And for the Australian viewers, they said they're very big in Australia. The movie's going to be coming out in the theater in Australia. Which
I love that. Yeah.
So that's going to be in the fall, I believe, in October, if I'm not mistaken. But we're pretty excited about that. So, yeah, I mean, listen, this is it's a labor of love to make movies, obviously, and to be able to do it with your family and your brother-in-law, and we come up with the wildest idea. What's the most we could do for what's the most bang for our buck? And this was it. We had literally just filmed a documentary, so we were already a well-oiled machine of that style of shooting. And we've done these horror movies in the past. So we were like, well, why don't we just do a horror movie like this? And I'm really happy with the result. Obviously, I'm happier because you guys get it.
Yes.
You have to understand, our family hated us for this. Like,
I can tell. I felt it. I felt it in that beginning part there.
They were very upset. And like, we didn't tell them. Even 8 months later, they still thought it was real. It's like we never broke kayfabe, as they say in wrestling. We never broke the secret.
I love it. I could talk to you guys all night, and I'm tempted, but I'm going to pass you over to Omar before he kills me. And I probably have stolen all of his questions. I hope not, like the way Ken did me, but I enjoyed it. I'm buying the DVD. I cannot stress everybody watching and listening right now. Buy this movie, or at least rent it. Watch it. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you
no
guys certainly are.
Muse, man. She says all these great things about you. Now I feel good about myself. I was feeling.
Give it a few more minutes. Give it a few more minutes. You'll want to kill yourself. Trust me.
He said it wears off pretty quickly.
Oh Lord, now I have to follow all this. You guys are fantastic in the movie. Obviously fantastic here. So thanks for joining us. I also saw Scarecrows, so I'm familiar with that. So I'm kind of curious. You've mentioned, liking true crime, and you obviously did Scarecrows and some other things, horror and documentaries. What is your favorite kind of genre? Like, what do you like doing the most, or what do you enjoy the best?
I would say, like, as a filmmaker, we like doing horror because, genre movies attract an audience that we want to speak to, A, and B, people who watch these types of movies are watching it because it's a horror movie, not necessarily who's in it, what's in it. It's like you can really get a lot of bang for your buck when you tell those types of stories. But comedy is like really, we love to laugh. And if you watch Scarecrows, you'll know that that's like pretty funny too. We try to infuse humor into all of our stuff. We've been tricking our distributor into thinking that we're making horrors this entire time because we really are just making comedies. But I mean, I grew up watching horror movies, the 80s and 90s, the slashers films. And, I was obsessed with Jason and Freddy, and Michael Myers was my guy. I even like Halloween 3, I'm a real pig. And, I'm sure Adam liked a lot of the funny movies too, right?
Yeah, you could tell him about them if you want.
He likes Transylvania 6500.
That's my jam. Okay,
That's his jam.
65,000.
65,000. My bad.
Don't get it mixed up here, but
Yeah.
like doing like the horror comedies is where like I mean, like, as Stu said, comedy's our first love. We've learned to adapt ourselves into horror, and I think like even a guy like Hitchcock really kind of paves the way for like low budget filmmaking and like taking these ordinary people, putting them into like incredible circumstances and trying to get their way out. That's how like what Scarecrows really was based on. It's like, how can we make a movie with a really small tight budget but still make people invest in these characters and think, oh, if I put myself in their shoes, how would I get out of this? And that's really the trick to our writing. So, that's with all of our movies, really.
I kind of remember Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was like the first horror movie that like I was laughing when I was watching it. Like Freddy's killing people, but he's got like a funny catchphrase, like he's like, right before he does it or after.
And they all have a wink, and I think that's important with horror too. It's like you want to make your audience feel comfortable so that they can actually get through the movie, be one of the characters, and then also scare the crap out of them at the same time. So it's that trust, and then bleh, it's the trust, and bleh. And I'm giving away my secrets to making films.
Do you guys remember a movie called When a Stranger Calls?
Yes.
Dude, that movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And then like there's no bad guy in that movie. There's like a phone ringing. And it's just like with the right kind of setting and the right type of storytelling, like you can make anything scary. Like that movie really scared the hell out of me. So I think we love that we get to play in this genre for sure. There's so many talented people making movies, and you got to respect them all because, everybody's punching above their weight. Like if you're watching a horror movie that made it out, that got out, like a lot had to happen for those guys to finish, get the money and work. You know what I mean? So we have so much respect for all the other people who make films in this space, and we're just excited we get to play with them.
Awesome. Yeah, horror comedies have come a long way. As honestly, I come from the same kind of generation. I like the slashers. I'm a true blood and guts kind of person, but horror comedies have kind of grown over me the last couple of years. And as I've been watching more and more, I can enjoy them more now than I could before. So I definitely can appreciate it and appreciate so much out there now that has the comedy element in it. You guys obviously did this documentary and you talk a lot about being natural and on scene, but you guys had to do some planning, especially together. So can you kind of talk a little bit about how much planning you actually did do, especially before you even shot, because you kind of had to know, where you were going to start, where you were going to end, and kind of how you did that, hiding from everybody else in your lives.
Yeah, essentially we would have, we would work on this beat sheet. We would create, a map of where we wanted to go and the scenes and how they were going to lead us into the next part of the investigation. And we knew we had to get a list of experts to make this sellable to the audience. So to have people register that, oh, these guys know what they're talking about. These experts can give the correct information, whether it's a dentist or an investigator or a cop or whatever. So we knew we had to have a bunch of those. And then we kind of looked at like a story arc as any other, arc you would do when like kind of developing a script or an outline, and filled in the blanks from there. But Stu and I would sit in my house in my backyard, and we would just kind of riff off of, pitching different projects. And we do that a lot in real life too. We pitch each other, we get, into each other's heads, and we know exactly what we're going to say to each other or to that other person. We kind of have this like, mental kind of attachment where
telepathy.
Telepathy. So he knew I was looking for the word, and he said it. But
it was also like a choose your own adventure book in a lot of ways. Like we had to come up with so many different angles of like, well, what if the person doesn't do that and they do this? Like we had to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, because again, there's real people that you're working with. Now we know where we're trying to lead them, but what if they don't go there? Like, for example, our assistant, I go back to her one more time. She could have come in the house with us. She'd be in the rest of the movie. She decided to run away. So that was it. Like that. Originally, we had her coming in with us and she didn't do that. So that's how it happened. But yeah, I mean, our backgrounds are such that we have worked on stuff that's like this hybrid sort of style in the past, and I've always been in love with this style, and I know Adam has too. And you know, the Borat movies, and when it's done right, it's so good. Like, and so we, you know, that was really what our intentions were here. So there was no script. Even actors like Tony, who were in the movie, never got a script. He didn't know. Even when we were shooting with him, he didn't know what we did before him, after him, no clue. And it's better that way because then everybody's surprised. But yeah, it's really hard to do a movie when only two people know exactly what's going on. Me and Adam would get in arguments and people would not know what the hell we were talking about. We had to like come up with code how to argue about stuff, just not so as not to break it. I would say the number one planned thing that we did was with the killer, you know, like making those YouTube videos. It was like 3 or 4 weeks before we started shooting. We really wanted to get like a handle on him and what he is and who
we also had private, you know, rehearsals. Like we would like call Tony and like we would go and meet in the studio and just kind of work through everything and, you know, try to and make that all come
without
together.
the camera crew there.
Yeah, so that when we got there, you know, we were able to do our, you know, theater play and have everyone else kind of react to what we were doing. And it's the same way of how we produce our other shows, as Stu was saying. You know, we rehearse with each other as much as possible. Think of like, what would they do? That way we know if those things come up, we could also try to, you know, use our intuition on how to maybe suggest to other people what to say or where to go or what to feel. So it's a trick. It's all a mind fuck.
And kind of
very much professional wrestling. You know,
professional mind fuck. Sorry, professional.
Because you watch wrestling and you're like, well, this isn't real, but that hurt. Like, yeah, I know this is, but that hurt too. You know, it's like that's what this movie is, or magic. You know, it's like, oh, I know magic isn't real, but that was real. Like that's kind of that's the drug that gets us excited. Like that little suspension of disbelief. If we could get you to like buy what we're selling, even for that small second, then we won.
Well, speaking of wrestling, is that kind of how you pull off the end when you actually have to kind of get a little bit more dirty and it's not so much improv talking, but it's more of physicalness?
Yeah, sure.
We went like all out.
Adam was doing the WWE. You should have seen the first cut of that fight. Adam was like doing
dropping leg drops and elbow drops. But you know, we're wrestling fans. You know, I grew up on wrestling. Stu grew up on wrestling. Stu still loves wrestling and still involved.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But
you know, definitely, you know, we're taking from what we grew up with and using it to our advantage and how we want to display, you know, our own characters and action. And that's the best part of it. You know, we get to make our calls and do what we want to do. But yeah, it took a bit more time to like, you know, get those beats, but you know, we just played around and then we were able to use the power of editing to kind of make it all look cohesive.
Awesome. Well, you guys also mentioned extra credit scenes, and I just want to throw it out there. Your kind of bonus scene there was hilarious. It was just a terrific ending to already the terrific movie. And I'll just kind of end it there as I throw it back to Ken.
Thanks a lot, man.
That's much appreciated, Omar.
Do you guys ever have guests on and tell them their shit sucks?
Not directly, but you know, we say it's different, you know. But we've actually been this is our 101st show. Oh, wow. And we've been really lucky with I'd probably say like 99% of the movies we've liked, like 100 all throughout the board. So, and we get sent movies all the time, and you know, we you know, with HorrO, with those connections and stuff, and reaching out to just random directors and stuff, we've been really blessed. And so yeah, we're on a roll here. Thank God for you know, just COVID helped us because people needed to promote their movies via Zoom and stuff like that. So it was a lot easier. Before we get into our main event here, I got to ask you both. You guys both say you're wrestling fans, right? One, and you guys are from Canada, so I just want to tell you one thing. Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart. HBK is the showstopper. He's the best there ever is. Okay. I just want to throw that out there.
I don't know about that.
Stu and Adam, I got to ask you, your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, 4 wrestlers that are creme de la creme. Who are the best 4 wrestlers ever?
Oh, wow.
I can let Adam go first if you want.
I mean, I go back and you talk about HBK, but my guy, when he walked in, Marty Jannetty, I think was
Jannetty's on your Mount Rushmore.
my guy. He's my
This-
Mount. He's coming up on a stone. Marty Jannetty. I love one of the Bushwhackers.
Adam is a Marty Jannetty.
I can't remember which one. Doink would definitely be
Doink in the Bushwhackers.
there.
This is the jobbers Mount Rushmore.
That's what we're talking about. Wow. I mean,
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
that's that's where I would go. I would go with the Jobbers Mount Rushmore. Actually, that's where I'm going to lean. Those are my guys. I like the oddballs and all the oddities too,
The oddities.
including Kurgan.
I remember. Oh my god.
Ridiculous. We just
All
lost
right.
all of our credibility.
Yeah, there we go. Do not watch this film. Now,
I will say, I'll give you a better answer.
go ahead.
Ric Flair,
Yeah.
the Nature Boy. Now, okay, you got to have like Hogan and Rock and all these guys on there, but like you're asking me, my personal, right?
Yeah, you're a personal man. You can
It's
have
like-
Doink
I
the
used to-
Clown like Adam.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Flair. I'll go Mr. Perfect.
Nice. That's
I guess I gotta go Stone Cold.
Yep.
And the last one, I'm gonna give it to RVD.
Wow.
I
You know, I've
love
met him
that.
so many times. He is just like how he is in the ring.
Yeah,
He's the same guy. He's so cool.
yeah.
He's like, come over here, man. He's like, looks like he's high half the time. But that's cool, man. That's a good,
Looks like. Speaking of which, that's a good segue. So in our movie, I don't know if you noticed, but like one of our fundraising efforts was to get a rolling paper company like offered to
Oh,
sponsor.
right. You got to show it. You got to show it a few times, right?
That is real as well. So much so that they loved the movie so much that they made us faking a murder rolling papers, which if you look, you can see them. They made actual, like they're real rolling papers that are available in cannabis shops here in Canada already. And hopefully they'll be available in the States too. And it's completely like
That is
unbelievable.
so funny. I got to ask a favor, and if you can't do it, one of our other co-hosts, Chris, who couldn't make it tonight, he's got a really big following and he does really good reviews. He couldn't make it, and he always asks the guest for something from the movie. So if you want to send him something, he would be over the moon. if you-
We can send you some tapes.
We'll send
Yeah,
you
that'd be awesome.
you guys should give them away too.
Listen, we got to get into our main event, and what we like to do with our guests is we like to put them through the Deathly 13. It's 13 trivia questions that HorrO and myself do not know the answers or the questions. Only Muse knows. So here's how we go. She's going to ask you both. You guys are working as a team. 13 questions, right? You can ask myself or HorrO one time for help if you need it. We may know the answer. You can ask for multiple choice. You can ask the chat room. There's a lot of people in the chat room. And you can postpone a question. Maybe you have it on the tip of your tongue and you might, you want to think about it. But Muse is the only one who's going to torture you on this one. And I'm just going to keep track of the score. Go ahead, Muse.
All right. I'm trying to pull myself together from laughing so hard.
Yeah.
I
Bring
don't
it
know
down.
if I can even do this. All right. All right. Well, here we go. Are you guys ready? You guys have any questions?
I suck at these. Let's go.
I love it. Just to let you know, I'm supposed to be like the master of trivia. I got like 6 out of like 13 right. So they totally like scorched me when
Can
I
you ask the same 13 to everybody?
No.
Nope. All right. Okay, starting with question 1. All right. What Tobe Hooper sci-fi horror film from 1985 focuses on a gorgeous female alien who is draining Londoners of their, and bear with me because I didn't want to give away the title of the movie, so let me just rephrase that. What Tobe Hooper sci-fi horror film from 1985 focuses on a gorgeous female alien who is draining Londoners of their life juice?
It's not Species because that's like 10 years later.
Yep.
Oh man.
I'll give you a hint, like there's a clue in the fact that she's draining them of their life juice. I couldn't say what she's actually draining them of.
Is it like Star Wars? Do you know what I mean? The word that didn't you change the word around, right?
No.
No.
Well,
okay, I'm wrong.
there's one part of the word is one part of the title. The word is in the title. It's in
right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Like what they say in Star Wars? Like use the.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I know what it is.
Yep. Adam and Stu are like, I'm fucking lost. I don't know.
Can we get multiple choice?
Well, you can,
use-
yeah. If you want to use multiple choice, absolutely, I can do that. Are you ready?
Yes.
Wait. Just before you use that one, okay? Because I may know the answer if you want to use me. If you're using a lifeline.
Oh,
Sometimes multiple choice is better.
Okay.
You want to do it?
Well, because I kind of think I do know it. I just because
You say it and then we'll help you out if you don't have it.
What happens if he takes a guess and he's wrong? Do we get an X?
I think it's like Life Force or Ultra Force.
There
or
you go.
something.
there you go. You got
It's
it.
Life Force, yeah.
Life
I was
Force?
like, I want to say
There you
Life
go.
Force in the question, but I couldn't. So I was like, Life Juice. It's an alternate.
I actually remember seeing that movie.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
like a big VHS, like the cover of the VHS.
Awesome
I
cover,
remember
right.
being like, "Whoa!" I
Was
gotta
it the
get
eye?
this.
I think it was like this profile of the eye, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
I just
Yeah.
remember the gorgeous woman in that one, and I was like, that is unforgettable. She is gorgeous.
Do you
Absolutely.
remember Species?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that the same movie?
That's the,
You know what? It honestly is very, very close. Yeah. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Species. Yeah.
Who is that Species? That was Adam. That's your girl, Natasha.
Natasha
Henstridge.
Yeah,
Hinstridge.
that's
Natasha
Adam
Hinstridge.
Monster.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan.
Oh, I love it.
So
then we met one night in LA and nothing happened.
All right. You guys are doing great. So, yeah, trust your first instinct because those are almost alwast right. All right. Question 2. This is a true or false. True or false? A serial killer from the 1970s appeared on the dating game and actually won.
I'll say true.
It's true too.
That is true. His name was Rodney Alcala. I think he was right in the middle of his killing spree, and he killed over 130 people at this point.
Whoa.
So that's another.
Sounds like our next movie.
Right. And I thought, yeah, honestly, I made all these questions up before I even watched the movie. So it's really spooky that question was, I never do true crime. I stick to movies. So it's really crazy that I did that, true or false. So that's kismet. That's fate. All right. Question 3. What is the highest grossing Stephen King film adaptation to date?
Let's talk about this, Adam. I'm gonna say that's like Pet Cemetery or Misery.
No,
I'm gonna give you a
No,
hint.
no.
It's much newer, much newer.
I think
newer.
it's the clown.
Oh, It. Yeah, of course. Definitely It.
It is. It is the
Yeah.
2017 adaptation remake of It. It made
Yes.
327.5.
Wait, is that so? The new one with Bill Skarsgård? That's
Yes.
the highest grossing movie.
Yes,
Holy shit!
No.
I know. I
But
would
you
have thought
know-
Pet Cemetery too.
I,
Honestly.
I wonder if the inflation and I'd imagine The Shining would have made more money.
That's absolutely. I was really shocked, honestly. Not to disagree.
Not the new one, not the one with
The
Ewan
winter, winter, whatever.
with Jack
Well,
Nicholson. Yeah.
sidebar: I played Bill Skarsgård's assistant in a little show called Hemlock Grove.
Oh, yes.
In every single episode.
Love
Wow.
But that guy went from he just blew up, and he's incredible.
That's cool.
That's awesome. I did not know that was the highest grossing Stephen King film.
I didn't either. I was actually, it's a great movie, but I would have thought something like a little more classic, but it's a fantastic film all the same. All right. Question 4.
Oh, we're crushing it so far.
You guys are killing it.
3 for 3.
What was Freddy Krueger's serial killer nickname before he died?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess like Steady Freddy or something.
I like that one though.
His nickname before he died.
You guys still have some lifelines.
Yeah,
I think it was something. They called him like the slasher or something.
Yes. That's the second part of it. And where it has something to do with the
Slingwood.
Springwood. Yes. All right.
Springwood. Sorry, I said
Way
sling, but it's
clutch.
Springwood.
Springwood slasher. Indeed. You got it.
I said Slingwood, but I meant Springwood.
It's not Steady Freddy.
Not
No, but it
Steady
should have been.
Freddy.
AKA Steady Freddy. How about that? AKA Freddy Krueger, AKA Steady
The
Freddy.
Springwood slasher. That's right.
You pulled that out of your ass.
Yes, I
I knew
love
it was Slasher. I thought it was Slingwood, but yes.
I think my sister, his wife, must be like off camera because she's a Freddy fan. She must have fed him that one.
over there with the cue cards, like Springwood.
Whatever works, man.
Yeah, right. All right. Question 5. The character, the actor Danny Lloyd, who played Danny in the original Shining, true or false, was not told that The Shining would be a horror movie. Is that true or false?
I'm gonna say true, just
I'll
on
say
the
true,
way,
too.
the way
That's
that you asked it.
controversial.
You really led us in a true direction there with the way you said that. So I'll go true.
I plead the 5th. It is true. It is true. I think they told him it was going to be a family movie or something. I don't know. That was
That's what I said. I said this was supposed to be a family film, like a
I think.
Disney-esque
Don't
type
quote
of
me on it.
genre.
right.
That's funny.
That's funny because we had to lie to everybody too to make our movie, which is a bunch of Danny Lloyds.
Right.
Don't be such
I
a
swear
don't be
it's
such a
about
Danny
this, not
Lloyd.
that.
That's gonna be a new term. Like, are you Danny Lloyding me? Instead of, are you lying to me? Are you Danny Lloyding me?
Oh my goodness. All right, this is kind of you said controversial. This is kind of a controversial one. So I'm not sure how factual this is. I'm still trying to piece this together in my brain. It's been a minute since I've seen either movie. So this is true or false for question 6. True or false? The movie A Quiet Place was initially intended to be a sequel to Cloverfield.
I'm gonna say false.
I'm gonna say false too because wasn't there already a sequel to
Cloverfield,
Cloverfield with like John
Cloverfield,
Goodman, where he's like in the bunker?
That's right. That was a prequel, maybe.
Well, you know what? It's true, and I don't understand that. I'm kind of where you guys are at, so that's why I said it's kind of a controversial one because I was like, huh?
Did they say it was false?
They said
it
it
was
was false.
Okay, so they missed it.
Are you keeping score?
Yeah.
I am. I got to keep score at the end. Yeah.
God damn it.
You guys are still good. You guys are still good. You only missed one.
You only missed one.
Just Danny Lloyd did that last one.
Damn it, Danny Lloyd. God damn you, Danny Lloyd.
All right. Where are we at? We question 7?
Yes.
Okay, question 7. All right.
Wait, are you sure it's 7?
Oh, you're gonna mess me up now. Ken usually keeps me in line.
It's
True or
7.
false? Is it question 7?
I need a lifeline.
Lifeline.
Lifeline that one.
We should have used a lifeline on that, Adam. We were very quick to say false.
Say false. Sorry, next one.
7.
All right, question 7. All right. In the movie Psycho, Norman Bates murdered his mother and who else? Listen, I'm gonna give you 2 possible answers here. They're asking for 1, but if you give me 1 of 3, you're in because
the girl in the shower that comes in, she gets killed.
yes, I will take that. Their answer was his mother and her lover because he did slaughter them both in the beginning before I think he really went off the deep end. But he killed other people in the movie too. So I would take Marion Crane in the shower, and I would take he murdered the detective as well that came looking. So to investigate,
he kills like 10. Or 11, 12 people.
He kills more than 2 people. That's for sure.
Do you remember they made Psycho 2 and maybe Psycho 3? I don't think they were very good.
And Psycho 4.
Oh, I'm a sequel girl, so I'm like, boo. I love sequels. When he said he loved Halloween 3, I was like, yes.
I liked Halloween 3. That's so weird. Yeah.
All right, question 8. I'm going to give you a quote from a movie, and I'm going to ask you what movie I'm speaking of. All right. What have you done to its eyes? He has his father's eyes.
What have you
Classic movie here.
Yeah. What have you done to his eyes? He has his father's eyes. We want to go to. Can we go to a lifeline?
You can ask me or HorrO. You can ask the chat room.
HorrO seems like he doesn't know this. Well, how do we ask the chat room? I can't even see them.
Well, let's see. Do you want to ask them?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
the
chat room. I think
they got it. All right, let's go. John, Luke.
They're gonna know.
John and Luke got Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, Rosemary's Baby, yes, of course.
Right there.
We'll go with John and Luke. They know.
Yeah.
Final answer. Yes, Rosemary's Baby. Way to go.
Luke, we're gonna send you some rolling papers. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like door prize.
They'll use them too, I think.
Yeah. All right. You guys are doing great. All right. Question 9. Here's another just a real short quote from a horror film, and we already talked about this one. Just to give you a hint, we just talked about it a few questions ago. 12 cabins, 12 vacancies.
Yeah, Psycho.
Yes, Psycho. All right, nailed it.
Nailed it.
All right, so we talked about Pet Sematary for a second as well, so that's pretty eerie that this is a question that is on this trivia quiz as well. So question 9. I'm going to give you a question 10.
10.
See, I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna Danny Lloyd it. All right. All right. Question 10. All right. So I'm going to give you this horror quote. I want you to finish the horror quote in this case, and it's from Pet Sematary. Sometimes dead is what?
Sometimes dead
is
better.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Actually, what it is. That's it for sure.
Yes, that is it. That is perfect. All right. Question 11. I'm going to give you another horror movie quote, and I'm going to, it's another finish the horror movie quote, and it's from the movie It. I think this might be in the 1990 version. I'm not sure if they featured this in the 2017 as well. This is Pennywise. You all taste so much better when you're what?
We need to go to a lifeline. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, this is a famous line, right?
Yes. You all taste so much better.
Fear. You all taste so much better when
Better.
It's another word for
when you're afraid.
No.
Close.
Scared?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was together.
No. You all taste so much better when you're scared.
More, they're not chicken nuggets, you know.
They all taste
so much better when you're a combo meal.
John, Luke, and Luna got that question right on the chat room. Good job, guys.
They also taste so much better with sweet and sour sauce.
I thought you'd say maple syrup.
And ranch.
Right sauce.
All right.
Question 12.
I don't know what number we're on, but
12.
12. All right. Okay. True or false? This is a question in reference to The Shining. Jack Nicholson had worked as a volunteer firefighter, so when he tore down the bathroom door in The Shining, he decimated the door so badly that they couldn't even use a prop door. They had to actually use a real door to make it look more realistic. Is that true or false?
I say false.
He doesn't strike me as the volunteer firefighter type. I'm going to say false as well.
It's true.
Oh,
It's true.
Wow.
I was surprised by that as well. I was like, wow.
Watch out there, fire.
He does kill that door, that's for sure.
So question 13 is worth 2 points. You guys have missed 2 questions, so you can go 12 or 13 if you get this right. If not, then you're gonna be 10 for 13. Go for it, Muse.
All right. I'm going to end it with another horror movie quote, another really classic one. And just to give you a hint, they actually remade this one as well. And another hint, Ken has visited this location as well. It's in New York.
The Rock starring Nicolas Cage? I can quote that.
That would have been awesome. Right.
You, Womack. You piece of shit.
That is such an awesome movie. Don't even get me started on. You're going to get me off into a rabbit trail, and we're never going to get this done. All right. All right. I'm coming apart. Oh, Mother of God. I'm coming apart.
Scarecrows? No.
See that movie as well. I saw that.
Are you trying to ask what movie that's from?
Yes.
That's say it again. It's that's Amityville Horror.
Yes, Amityville Horror. All right. You guys did great.
Right on.
Despite my horrible horror movie voices and
that's a classic.
Yes.
So wait, you visited? I was just there recently too. Is that is that where did you go? Because I think I was Danny Lloyded where I saw.
He's talking about when you went to the Amityville location.
Yeah, where was that? What state were you in?
It's in New York. It's Long Island.
Yeah, it's in Long Island. Okay.
It's very. It does not look.
Crystal
It's not the same. They remodeled the house and everything because you got all these jabronis pulling up, taking pictures.
Crystal Lake is in New Jersey.
So
Crystal Lake is in New Jersey.
So which one is in Connecticut? Did I get Lloyded?
Yep. No, wait, The Conjuring, maybe.
Conjuring, yeah.
I know that my mom's going to call me for dinner soon, but I wanted to make sure that we get everything out there.
We're gonna wrap it up. I just will give you guys a moment to talk about what you're working on and where to find you on social media.
Yeah, but wait, dude, we did really well in that contest.
You did great. You did with the bonus question, you did 12 out of 13.
I mean,
Well
who
done.
else is doing 12 out of 13? Come on.
Well, most everybody does 14 for 13, but we don't want to make you guys feel bad.
Oh,
Our
Yeah.
next project coming up is a stoner heist movie called Vandits with a V. It's about these 4 stoner idiots who have a brilliant idea to knock over a senior citizens bingo hall on Christmas Eve. We were going
Doesn't
into
go
production.
well for them.
Doesn't go well for anybody, but we're going into production on that in September in glorious Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
We're also pitching a television series based on the Faking a Murderer movie called Brothers ... in Law, where Adam and I will open up a detective agency and solve your real cases.
Awesome.
We're pitching that now.
If you know a network, let us know and we'll take a call with them.
Well,
Otherwise, I'm at Adam Rodness, RODNE with 2 S's, everywhere.
There you go.
Stu, what about you? Where can we find you, Stu?
And that's Stu Stone. That's Stu Stone.
Hey. Yeah, we have a company, 57 Films. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Bumble, we're everywhere.
Bill?
So you can find us, and please spread the word. Listen, it's really important that you guys know that we need you guys. It's like there's so much noise out there in the world. There's so many things for people to choose and so many things for people to watch. It's very awesome to get support. Like, you guys loving the movie really made our day. So we appreciate it, and just spread the word. That's the only way we'll win, is if people see the movie. Eyeballs, baby.
Listen, on behalf of Where the Scary Things Are,
eyes.
on behalf of Where the Scary Things Are, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the film. Everybody check it out. I believe it's August 6th coming out, Faking a Murder. And we loved it. So keep it scary, my friends. Till next time.
Thank you. Shout out to Danny Lloyd. And we love you guys. Thank you.
Don't be Danny Lloyd. Don't be that guy.
Thanks so much for having us, guys. Take care.
All right,
Take care.
let's get out of here, Janetti.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels forever.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
Bye.
they were awesome. Oh my goodness. Everybody was cracking me up in the chat too. That's great.
Yeah. All right, let's get right into the next. Let's get into the beginning. You guys good?
Yeah.
Can we breathe for a second?
I'm pulling it together over here. I was like, I can't do this trivia. You guys got me going here.
Lord of mine.
That's funny. All right, my face hurts. All right, let's bring it in. Good evening, horror family. Welcome to Where the Scary Things Are. I'm your host, MonsterMash Ken. And with me is my co-host, the Mistress of Darkness, the Queen of Fright, the Lady of the Night Muse. How you doing tonight, lady?
I'm good. I got the husband to watch Psycho Gorman yesterday. I'm going to have him give his 2-second review here at the end. So everybody stick around. I'm actually going to get him on the microphone, which is a miracle.
Is that all he gives is 2 seconds? Or
Hey, I you know what? I'm going to let him answer that one too. He can talk
2
about
second
that.
Jamie. 2 second Jamie coming up. We got a special segment. 2 second Jamie. Oh, I love you, man. I'm just kidding. And you know what? I'm not going to pick on him because you have to be strong to put up with you.
Right. I have the economy-sized bottle of Xanax.
Costco. All right. And also with us is HorrO from Promote Horror and that son of a bitch, Dexter. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, we are good. We are fresh off our voyage to space. We kind of glanced the atmosphere there and came back down, parachuted down, and we're all safe. And wait a minute. No, we didn't, Dexter. Why'd you write some crap like this? We're not billionaires. What is wrong with you? We're faking a astronauter here because we are not astronauts and we did not go to space. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Well, Jeff Bezos is smiling down at you. So in his penis-shaped rocket, did you guys see that? Like he literally went up in space in a penis-shaped rocket. Anyway, this is episode number 101. We are very excited to present the movie for tonight. We are talking to director and writers and producers Stuart Stone and Adam Rodness. They have a new movie called Faking a Murderer. Awesome movie, lots of fun. It's like a documentary type, and it. I had a fun time watching it, man. It's like I was laughing. It reminded me like after watching it and listening to the interview, I enjoyed it even more. I want to go back and watch it. And Muse is just glaring about this movie. She loved it so much. So highly recommend this movie. Unfortunately, Chris, the creature, just a shout out to him. He's not with us tonight. He's with his lovely wife. What was he eating? Hot dogs or something like that? He sent us a picture. He's out to dinner tonight and he's spending time with his lovely wife, which is a-okay. Shout out to the chat room. Let's see who's hanging out in the chat room tonight. We've got Luna, the usual suspects with John, Muse here in there. Mike, what's up, Mike? John Grant, Luke, HorrO's in there. Jamie is in there. Who else? I thought I saw. I keep scrolling up some more people in there. Anyway, if you're listening to the podcast, join the chat room Tuesday night. It's a lot of fun. Meet some new people. You can talk about horror. Well, what's better than that? On a Tuesday night. James Boogeyman, what's up, my friend? Hope you're good. And what else? Anyway, let's get right into the show tonight. I didn't have time to go to the liquor store, so I had to drink one of my go-to beers, and I've had this before. So here's the fear of the beer of the week. This is a Cali Cream and Orange Creamsicle beer. I've had this before on the show. I love it. I highly recommend it. This is Mother Earth Brewing Company. So cheers to you guys in 101 episodes. Always good, always good. I cheated on my diet and I had McDonald's earlier. I was so hungry, and you crave McDonald's so much. And then when you have it, you're like, oh, why did I have McDonald's? So before I get into this, I wanted to play. I know I do a couple of segments on the show, but since Chris isn't on the show, I'm going to play a game with you two, Muse and HorrO. So if you want to just click your little mic on real quick, we're going to have a little competition, a little friendly 20-second competition here for each of you at one time. Okay, so Muse, ladies first. Muse, you have to tell me. Let's see here. You have to name as many zombie movies as you can in 20 seconds on 3. 1, 2, 3, go.
Dawn of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2, Day of the Dead. Oh my goodness. Return of the Living Dead 3, Zombieland 2. I'm totally cheating with these sequels. Oh my goodness. I want to say Bud the Chud. I don't know if he was kind of
No, that didn't count.
No. Oh my god. I don't know why I'm like totally freezing. I think I used all my
time's up.
Okay.
You got 9. You got 8.
Okay.
All right. HorrO, you're up. Now you not zombie films. You have to do vampire films. Ready? Go.
Twilight 1, Twilight 2, Twilight 3, Twilight 4. That give me like 5 right there. Dracula 1, Dracula 2, Dracula 2, 3, 4, The Return of Dracula, Dracula Goes to Space, what is it? Interview with a Vampire. We talked about that. The TV series that's coming back. Van Helsing has Dracula in it.
And stop. All right.
He killed me.
He beat you there. All right, so I'm gonna surprise you guys every now and then. We're gonna do a little quick trivia like that. I think it's fun, just keep you guys on your toes. Make sure that we remind our audience that we know what we're talking about sometimes, And so yeah, let's do a horror movie flashback. Speaking of Dracula, on July 20th, 1979, the film Dracula was released. I had not seen this version of it, but it looks kind of creepy. On June 20th, 1958, Frankenstein 3D and was released in 1970. There's a good one. July 19th, 2013, The Conjuring. July 19th, 1996, The Frighteners. One of the best sci-fi movies ever made. Probably top 2, 3, definitely top 3 ever. Aliens, the second one. Probably the best sequel ever to, I'd probably say Empire Strikes Back, then Aliens, best sequels to any movie ever. July 18th, 1986. God, I want to watch the movie right now. July 18th, 2008. Not really a horror film, but definitely some crazy parts. The Dark Knight with the Joker, Heath Ledger. Really cool movie. Arachnophobia, July 18th, 1990. Now, Jaws and Arachnophobia are horrifying movies because this shit can actually happen, except for that giant spider fight at the end. But yeah, that movie is bananas. Jaws: The Revenge, July 17th, 1987. Hocus Pocus, a Halloween favorite, July 16th, 1993. It's so weird that that came out in July. What were they thinking? Blair Witch Project, July 16th, 1999. One of the best horror films. What else we got? Ghostbusters the remake. We won't even talk about that. July 15th, 2016. Let's see what else we got that's worth mentioning. Halloween Resurrection, July 12th, 2002. And I think we're about Hellboy 2. Actually liked Hellboy a lot. I know some people didn't like it. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, July 11th, 2008. And I think that's about worth mentioning for now. Anyway, good stuff there. Muse, we're gonna jump right in to you and your Sinister Six. Let me just pull up the screen here. Before I do that, can you? I know that you have whatchamacallit, a watch along. Do you want to talk about that? I think that's really
Oh,
cool
yeah.
because I think tell them how you do. How could we do this with you? How do we do the
Okay.
watch along with you?
So every Friday night, we do a lot of 80s, like I say, 99% 80s movies. And basically, it's every Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Basically, you just get your copy ready and you tweet along with us, put in your comments and stuff like that. You basically going to be watching on your own. We're not going to be sharing screens or anything like that, but it's with a great group of people. We call ourselves the Stranger Friends. And it's just fantastic. It's just a lot of fun. I've had a blast doing this. But this week we're doing one of Ken's absolute favorite movies. This may be his favorite movie of all time. I'm not sure.
One of them, definitely one of them.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. And I know John and Luna love this one as well. I tagged them. I know it's super late where they are. They're in the UK, I believe. So I know it's really super late there. But it felt so wrong not tagging them and in telling them about it because I know they absolutely love this one. And we have a blast every Friday. Yeah, but I wanted to really shout you guys out this week because I know you guys absolutely adore this as well as me. I love this movie as well. So yeah, it's just such a great group of people. They're fantastic. And we have so much fun. So that's just the little gist of it. It's just real simple. You just pop in your copy at 9:30 and just tweet what you want and weigh in, or you could just watch and just watch everybody's comments or whatever. There's a hashtag so that you can kind of stay in the groove with everybody. So definitely check that out as well. But yeah, so that's that. So are we ready to rock with this? Can I rock with it?
Let's do it. Go for it, man.
I can rock with it. All right. So it's funny because we were talking about faking a murderer with Adam and Stewart, and I was reading one of the comments on this movie, and it's on the poster, and it says a total mind fuck of a movie, and I thought this is perfect, and I'd come up with this Sinister Six a few weeks back, but I was basically going to focus on Sinister Six movies that mess with your head, horror movies that mess with your head. We've all seen these movies where we're like, what is going on? And I mean this in the best possible way. I mean, sometimes you get movies that just make you really think or twist your mind around and you're not quite sure what's going on. And it's just a fantastic ride from beginning to end. So starting off at number one, there's going to be John Carpenter on this list. And, honestly, this is probably one of my absolute favorite movies by him. And it's so hard to pick one, but In the Mouth of Madness. And John tweeted about this the other day. It was so eerie because I was like, how did John know? How did he know I was going to go here? So I thought that was really cool. And so that's my first movie. And we all know how this one goes. It stars Sam Neill. He's an author. And he's basically hunting down, he's just an insurance investigator, and he's scrutinizing a claim made by his publisher. And he endeavors to, I guess, retrieve a yet to be released manuscript and ascertain the writer's whereabouts. And that novelist is Sutter Kane. He's gone missing. He's accompanied by the novelist editor, Linda Stiles, played by the absolutely awesome and beautiful Julie Carmen. And he's just disturbed by these nightmares from reading Kane's other novels. He starts to really get sucked in and starting to lose his kind of grip on reality. He makes this eerie nighttime trek to this supernatural town in New Hampshire called Hobbs End. It is a fantastic movie. I remember actually watching this with one of my good friends, Landon, and he was just like, what did we just watch? He loved it. And it was just totally trippy. And we just had so much fun watching this one because he's a huge John Carpenter fan, just like me. And he hadn't seen this, and I was like, "What?" So we had to watch it, and he loved it, and he's a big fan to this day. The second movie is Jacob's Ladder, and this movie has got so many things going on. It focuses on the character of Jacob Singer, played by Tim Robbins. He's returning home from the Vietnam War, and he's struggling just to maintain his sanity. He's plagued by hallucinations, flashbacks, and he's rapidly, falling apart as the world and people around him are just morphing and twisting into all kinds of disturbing images. And his girlfriend, the character of Jesse, and ex-wife Sarah are trying to help, but everything's just going haywire. Even Singer's chiropractor friend Lewis is failing to reach him as he descends into madness. This is such a crazy film, and I can't recommend it highly enough. I think they remade it. I've not seen the remake, but I would highly recommend seeing the original first from 1990. It's a great movie. The third movie it got a special place in my heart. It's Creep from 2014. We interviewed the director of Creep. Yeah. And Mark Duplass is absolutely excellent in this. This movie is just freaking you out from the beginning. This is another one of those movies. This could really happen. And I think that's what makes it really, really disturbing, a lot like Jaws and Arachnophobia. Whenever there's something that you're watching that could really happen, it's even all the more disturbing and messes with your mind. You're not quite sure what's going on and what this guy's about. This guy goes out there to film this guy who says his wife is dying. All kinds of craziness ensues. There's a wolf mask at some point in the movie. And in the name Peaches and all Peach Fuzz and Peach Fuzz. And it's just such a crazy off the rails movie. And I love it. It's another kind of like documentary-esque found footage style. Like I said, Mark Duplass is gold in this as well. And I can't recommend this one enough. Also, Creep 2 is fantastic as well. It's great follow-up. My fourth movie is Mandy with Nicolas Cage, and nobody does off the rails mindfucks like Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is just a joy to always watch on screen. I love him, and I don't think there are many other people that can have a meltdown like Nick Cage. And Mandy is a prime example of that. I remember watching this one with Luna and Venus one morning, and I mean, what a movie to wake up to, right, Luna? I think Luna had just woke up and she's like, what are we? She's like, I don't know what I got you guys watching, but I loved every second of it. It was such a fun movie. And it's just I can't even begin to even explain where to even start here with Mandy. But I just recommend, I think it's just something you got to see for yourself and just weigh in with your own thoughts. But I loved it. I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan, and it just is one big trip for sure. And just a great movie. I love when he freaks out in that movie. It's just fantastic. The fifth movie is Jordan Peele's Get Out. And this is one of my favorites in the last 10 years. Such a powerful movie and just absolutely throws you for a loop, especially at the end. And I cannot recommend this movie enough. If you have not seen Get Out or anything by Jordan Peele, run, do not walk to see this one. Us is another great one as well, where you're not quite sure what's going on. And they're just fantastic movies, very powerful message in Get Out. And just one of the movies that is an absolute personal favorite of mine as well. I cannot stress enough, this is a fantastic film. And I don't want to give away too much for those out there that have not seen it. I can't imagine anybody's not seen this one yet, but sometimes there's tons I have not seen.
Guilty.
Right, you've not seen it? Oh my God.
I've not seen it.
You've got to see this one. It's such a good movie, and it really messes with your mind and you're not quite sure what's going on. And it's just such a powerful movie too. And it's fantastic, but I don't want to ruin too much, even more so then, but definitely I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are. I love this film. One of my favorites in the past 10 years for sure. And the sixth one, another favorite, is I have to throw Midsommar in there. I mean, this movie messed me up. I was like, but in the best possible way. I loved it. And just, again, this is another one. I know there may be people that have not seen this one, but if you have not, you need to see this one as well. Don't want to give away too much. All I can say is that it is absolutely, you are not ready for this film. You are not ready. You think you're ready. You're not ready for this film. But I mean that in the best possible way. It's fantastic. And Ari Aster is a genius, and I love him for making all these movies, and Jordan Peele as well. So yeah, those are my favorite top 6 mindfuck films. There's so many out there, but those are my personal favorites. So I'm going to swing around to Omar first, and I'm interested in what kind of movies really messed with his head. What kind of horror movies messed with his head?
Well, you took two of mine there, Hereditary and Nick Cage, because his movies are bizarre and crazy. I just watched the recent one that he just put out, Pig, and it's not really horror, and it's like sort of a thriller but kind of a drama, and I'm just like, what the fuck did I just watch? Um, so that's my review of Pig. um, Going along with Hereditary, I'd say Midsommar. I was like, this is just getting more weird as we go. Crazy stuff there. Um, M. Night, I think you could say that about several of his movies. He's known for this twist, and sometimes the twist is good, and sometimes it's just off a cliff, and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Where'd he go? Like, The Happening, nothing happened. I mean, what really happened in that movie? I don't know. The one with Jennifer Lawrence, Mother. If you're not very religious, you have no idea what the hell is going on in that movie. That movie is nuts. And Killing of a Sacred Deer. I don't know, maybe anybody in the chat has seen that one. I still don't know what the hell I watched there. Just crazy stuff. And I'm sure there's some, subtitled foreign films out there that you can throw into this list. But those are just a few. And I can't keep up with it. And Dexter the Skull here, he just goes to sleep, or he just is useless. I turned to Dexter and said, what happened? And he's like sleeping, and he's got the hat down, and I don't know what the hell.
Well, you know what? You mentioned Killing of a Sacred Deer, and I was looking at that. I was really intrigued by the premise of that film. So that's one I'm going to check out for sure. I loved all of your answers. I know the chat mentioned The Void by Steve Kostansky. And that is a fantastic film. Absolutely freaks you out. And it's just got a lot of just a lot of really great practical effects in that one. I loved it. And High Tension, Shutter Island, all great.
Shutter Island, that's a good one. That is
I've not seen Shutter Island. There's one I haven't seen. And I like Leo DiCaprio. So it's ridiculous I haven't seen that one. So we're going to swing over to Ken and find out his mindfuck horror favorites. I'm just going to say mindfuck
only. No, just real quick, another shout out to the chat room and all those watching at home. Special shout out to two very special ladies in my life, Jen and Erica Goldberg. Thank you for watching. They're watching on YouTube right now. Listen, one of the best movies that I've seen, horror, and I think we may have touched on it a few times. Is it horror? Is it not? I think it's horror. I think it's a pretty mindfuck movie, even from the music with Nine Inch Nails. Seven. You got to put Seven in there. I think that movie is brilliant. The way they made that with Kevin Spacey's character and the emotion from Brad Pitt, anything that Morgan Freeman is in is awesome. I just think that movie is just perfect. It's like one of the perfect movies, somebody to think of how to kill people and using the 7 deadly sins, and then just some of the unforgettable scenes in there, some of the lines in there. A beautiful movie. I actually want to watch it now that I'm talking about it. So yes, Seven is definitely a mindfuck movie. Another movie that is fairly new, and I got to just put a personal note on it. The reason why it messed with me so much is because of the time of what was going on in our world at the time. But Joker, I know it's not like a horror film. I think it kind of could fall into horror. Who are we to say what's horror and whatnot? But I think Joker was scary because when I went to see it in the movie theater, there was all this talk about mass shootings, and there were some mass shootings or whatnot. And it unfortunately played another character in the movie in real life. Like, you go watch a 3D movie, you're watching something in 3D, right? But when I went to the theater, there were armed policemen everywhere, and in my mind, I was thinking something could happen. So I'm concentrating on the movie. I'm loving the movie. The movie's one of my favorite movies, but I'm also thinking, I'm looking, to the side, where are the exits at? What would happen if somebody started shooting in here? And it fucked with my mind. And then you're watching Joaquin Phoenix's character, especially the bathroom scene. And I read a little bit more about this bathroom scene where that was not what was supposed to be. He just did that on his own. And he's such a brilliant actor, but that music, the violin, I think it was, or whatever, and him just turning in, accepting his craziness, right? and it just goes bananas from there. So I don't know if you want a mindfuck per se, as what you're asking, but that movie messed with my mind in different ways. So I would say Seven and the Joker.
I think a mindfuck movie is all a perception, and that's the great thing about movies is we all have different answers, and that's why I love weighing in with you guys, because we get different perspectives, and maybe movies we considered or didn't consider. But I love it. I totally think those movies are perfect because it's all individual. It's all how it affects you personally. And Joker was just, I mean, again, that's another favorite movie from the last 5-10 years. Absolutely, from 2019. Absolutely. I went and bought that one immediately after seeing it. And I was like, why did I wait so long? And I agree with you in the last little bit. It turns into a horror movie. Well, actually, no, that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But Joker has a lot of horror elements as well. I don't even know why I mishmashed them together, mainly because I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a mindfuck as well in a lot of ways.
I want to talk about that for a second,
sure.
because I read the book. I read the Helter Skelter, the Manson book, right? It's like a crazy long book. And you're watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and you know the story of Manson, you know the murders that had happened, and you're like, oh my God, this is gonna happen. And the way they're doing it, the time, the narration, and all this shit, and you're like, shit is about to go down. But I don't want to ruin it for. I don't care if you haven't seen that movie. This is your fault. Then things go totally different. It is hardcore Brad Pitt. I love Brad Pitt. It's weird. Some of my favorite movies are his, like Inglourious Basterds, Seven, The Mexican, just all these different movies that he's in. I just think he's a brilliant actor. And you're right, Muse, that movie just messes with your mind because you're like, oh, you know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or when he goes into that campsite with all the hippies, and you're like, oh my gosh, and Bruce Dern's in there, and so random, but it's tense, right? You're like on the edge of your seat, and you think you know what's going to happen. And I kind of like what they did with it after I watched. Like, I really enjoyed that, But good topic, Muse. Oh, I love it.
I agree with you too about Brad Pitt. I think I had this misconception of him, and I'm not dissing the movie. I love Thelma and Louise, but he's gonna be a heartthrob, and Brad Pitt was like, fuck that. I'm what I want to be. And he just broke, I think, the mold. I think a lot of people had him pegged for a heartthrob and a stud, and he is a stud. But, he went and did roles that I think broke him out of whatever stereotype might have been placed on him. And I thought he was just a fantastic actor. And I was really shocked because I had him pegged all wrong, and he's fantastic. He kills it in every movie I've seen him in, and he's just amazing to watch. When I see him in 12 Monkeys, it's just unreal. To Seven, to anything he does, and I completely agree. I'm a total I'm a jobber for him.
For jobber for them, I like it.
We're using terms.
James Boogeyman just mentioned something kind of cool here. I want to just shout out real quick. He was going to say the Joker. I think that's what he meant to say. It was like The Taxi Driver, the movie The Taxi Driver. That movie is crazy too. The Taxi Driver. I mean, with De Niro, that was a really, really beautiful movie too. I mean, ahead of its time. But overall, Muse, good topic, man. I like it.
Yeah, I thought it fit perfectly with the movie we did tonight. They're messing with you the whole time, and I loved it. And you're like, what is going on? Is this real? Is this not real? What is happening? And it was fantastic.
HorrO just mentioned one in the chat room, Falling Down. I love that movie. That movie's
another movie that scares the shit out of you because it could happen. I mean, you're walking into the fucking fast food place and that's it. I mean, something goes crazy.
It's so weird that you brought that up, HorrO. I was just talking about it last night to my friend, and we were at the ice cream place, and we were just thinking, that you don't get this. You see the picture on the screen. It doesn't look like what you're gonna get. And then this is kind of just sets them off like, what's this sad burger? This is not that. Great.
Yeah, no, I think it might have been John mentioned it on Twitter. He did it maybe a week or two ago, and I was talking to him about it real quickly. But yeah, that's one of the movies that I've kind of wanted to bring up in one of my segments one day, Falling Down, and talk about how that has to do with horror and so forth.
All right. Well, let's.
Yeah,
Go
I'll
ahead.
pass it to
Sorry, go
HorrO
ahead.
on that note. I know it's hailing here, so if I, so I'm sorry for any background noise. I'm going to mute myself now.
It's hailing there. You got hail.
It is hailing here. All of a sudden, it started hailing, and I'm like, I don't know, set the heavens or something. I'm not sure. It's just like all of a sudden start hailing, so I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to pass it over to HorrO, so there's not too much craziness going on here.
It is all because Chris just broke the news that there's a place 3 Muses. So
Right?
I think that kind of
Hell is opening
disrupted the whole Earth here that Chris found that.
The space-time
now,
continuum.
The apocalypse has begun. It's hailing. There's going to be fire raining down soon, and
for those who don't know, behind the scenes here, Chris is out there in the world finding 3 Muses. So that means there's like 4 or 5 now, or I don't know what's happening. So I usually start off with a topic, but we're breaking news here.
Right? He's like, one Muse is enough, and I completely agree. We don't need any more.
Jamie just went to Costco to get another economy size Excedrin migraine.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I'm passing it over to Omar with the 666 rundown. I don't do it like you can. I'm like Sylvester over here.
Take a seat.
Rundown.
Take a seat before you hurt yourself.
I know. I'm about to
just relax. Go stand outside in the hail for a second. Let's get into the 666 killer rundown with HorrO and Dexter.
Oh, such a Danny Lloyd moment. Oh man. Okay. If you don't know, you'll find out in the interview.
Don't be Danny Lloyd. Don't be a Danny Lloyd.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't. Okay, so I have to breathe and catch myself again here. All right. So there's several things to talk about this week that I could have picked from. But instead, I'm going to go with a classic horror story. And I don't mean reaching back and something that's a remake or something. I'm talking about the new movie that's on Netflix now called A Classic Horror Story. I know that a lot of people are talking about it on Twitter and so forth. So I kind of want to bring it up because I think it kind of fits with some of the themes that I generally talk about here. And in order to do this, I'm going to have to spoil at least some of the movie. So I hate to do it, but there's just no way that I can talk about this. And the real point here, to kind of bring it to what we usually talk about here, I kind of have to spoil the movie in some parts. So you have been warned. If you haven't watched this and you want to watch this or whatever, if I ruin it for you, I apologize, but there's just no way around it. So with that disclaimer, basically, I of course watched this just because everybody else is watching it and it's mentioned there, and it's a new movie, it's on Netflix and so forth. But I did my typical watch. I'm going to put it on, but I'm doing my promote horror stuff over here on the side. So I'm watching and going back and forth. And just so you guys know, this is an Italian film, so you can either dub it or they have the audio in English. So it kind of matches what they're saying. I don't know, it's a little weird in some points, but regardless, so I'm going back and forth looking at it, watching the movie and being like, okay, classic horror story, watching this go by, and there's a lot of common themes happening here. And then it hits the point where, it's mentioned, towards the end of a classic horror story and basically what is going on here. So then I'm like, okay, so I saw some people's comments and I'm like, okay, I got to watch this again, but I got to pay more attention, especially knowing how this movie ends. And, for those of you out there who may have watched it and watched it one time, unless if you really, really hated the movie, then obviously you're not going to watch it. But if you're kind of interested in what the movie talks about at the end and making a classic horror story, I request that you go back and watch it a second time, because I watched it a second time before talking about it today, so that I would have some clue what I'm talking about, obviously. But once you know where the film is ending, you can go back and pick up some of the things that are being placed along the way. And I think it, if whatever your thoughts are the first time around, I think it kind of makes it a little bit more enjoyable movie, especially if you go back and you're looking for certain of the things that are being set up here. Because what's basically happening is one of the, okay, it is the, I'll say it here. It's a standard, kind of slasher in the woods kind of movie setup here. You have a bunch of travelers there in an RV. They're going into the woods. They break down. They get stuck there. So we've kind of seen that setup. So that's part of being a classic horror story. But one of those people that is in this RV is really making a movie, and they're trying to make it with the intention of making it a classic horror story. They're not shying away. We talk about remakes and we talk about some other films of doing a similar style but coming up with something new. So, but basically, this person who's in this RV that's doing all this is really not shying away. So if you really go back and if you know that and you watch the movie, you can have fun picking out what this person is doing along the way. Some things are fairly obvious. And if you're just watching like I did on the first time, you're like, what, you're just like, whatever, blah, blah. But it is clear as day. And it was such a more enjoyable watch the second time to watch this person do this. Because they're not hiding from it. The movie is just so glaring there. I mean, even if you're watching this, you might be like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I've seen all of this before. Why are they making this so obvious? It goes to themes like, okay, like I said, we have the travelers, they get stuck in the woods, they find a cabin. The cabin is very Evil Dead like. The guy even mentions it. One of the characters is like, hey, this is a horror movie. This is like the Evil Dead. The cabin is so much similar to the Evil Dead. It doesn't even shy away from that. You have these mysterious killers. Then you find them that they can't get away from the cabin, that they continue to end up at it. So then it kind of gets into almost maybe a supernatural thing because there's rituals and all this craziness that you can pick your name. We mentioned Midsommar a few minutes ago. There's a scene that if you've seen that movie, you're going to be like, hey, this is Midsommar. What the hell are they doing? They're not shying away from it. It's there. They're doing it, maybe the Italian version and maybe their version here in the movie. But if you've seen Midsommar, you're going to be like, hey, what is happening here? You guys are copying. But that's the fun of this, is that once you hit that point in the movie towards the end where you know what is happening, you find out that is precisely what they're doing. They're not shying away from this. So I guess at the end of the day, and to kind of draw this into what we generally talk about here, is does the fact that they're not shying away and kind of and the person, and I'll say this too, the person who's doing all this, does come out and does make commentary on why they're doing this film. They obviously, again, this is an Italian film, so I guess I can't say that I'm well versed in Italian movies, but apparently, they don't go for this kind of film, or at least he kind of makes it seem like this kind of film would never work there. But this person makes reference that, hey, if he did this in America, he'd be offered a sequel right away. Like there'd be a sequel to this immediately. Like no, and they have their I guess three main things that they worship or whatever, and he kind of referenced that to his Freddy, Jason, and Michael. So they even go that far. So again, not hiding it, making a complete commentary on what we're watching. Saying that we're watching this and we're eating this up, this kind of horror. But I mean, they're just throwing in all these pieces all together on top of each other, and you can pick out different movies. I've named a couple to say it. So my guess at the end of the day, and the end of the conclusion here is because of what he's done and how they sum up this movie. Does this make it almost a remake, a reboot? Make it something similar that we always see? Because obviously it is. Or because they're so not shying away from it, does it make it new? Where does this movie fall? I mean, it's called a classic horror story, and it's filled with classic horror stuff, horror tropes. I mean, we've seen lots of comedies, making fun of it. This is not really a comedy, but it just touches on so many bases. And you also have to think about it from a different perspective. They're Italian filmmakers, so they're obviously also making commentary on us and what we're watching and what we like. So as this movie goes on, they're just throwing it down the different things that we watch and different things that we like and so forth. So at first watching this, I was like, but then kind of, taking in what they were saying at the end of this movie and then going back and watching and how they just go through it, I can give it a little bit more credit for what's happening here. And again, if you just kind of throw it on like I did the first time, you're like, I've seen all this crap. Dude, what is this? This is another Netflix movie. oh, they did it again. Kids in the woods, they're all gonna die. Whatever, blah blah. I mean, maybe I can see some people just even turning it off. But I just thought that it was just so open and weird at the end. And that even that we've seen movies where someone is killing people and making movies off of it. I mean that's not new either. But just being just the way it kind of unfolded in the openness to copy some of the stuff that we are so familiar with. It's just crazy, as opposed to making their own film. And then when you consider the name of the film on top of it, I just thought it was fascinating. So, I don't know. I'm assuming that you guys didn't see it. I don't know if you want to comment on anything about this, but I guess I just wanted to throw that out there. This is just very interesting. And for those who have seen this movie or do see it, or when you do see it, I'd be very interested to know kind of where that falls in your mind. Is it just a classic horror story with them meshed together, or was there something really new that they were trying to do here?
I'll throw my 2 cents in. I hadn't seen it. I do want to see it because it looks interesting. And then just hearing you speak about it makes me even want to watch it even more. And the way you describe it, and the way that the approach that they took on it, I don't think it would be considered like a remake type movie or a copycat. I think it's like, I'd imagine it taking like music and using different beats and then combining all these beats into one that are already known beats, or something like that. And you make it work. It's something different that you make it work. We always see like Spider-Man movies, for instance, there's so many renditions, or Batman, so many different renditions of this movie, or what, how many times can we see that remade? We already know the story, but you still have to stick to some of those roots. And from what you're saying, it kind of sounds like this director did, but took different parts and kind of like a quilt, like he made a quilt of a movie with all these different patches or whatever. So it definitely sounds interesting. And if it works and a lot of people tune in, I mean, another approach or another way you might look at it is not, I wouldn't say we're horror experts, but we're horror fanatics. We're horror fans. We love it and we consume it. It's part of our everyday, and we can catch some of these things that have been done already, but maybe a newer audience won't catch them. So they will like tuning into this, so maybe it's targeted at a newer audience. I don't know. But I mean, right now we're lucky because horror is making a lot of noise right now. And there's some really good movies coming out. We're really lucky because remember, like 10 years ago, movies sucked, So thank God for good horror right now. And maybe this is something that we need.
That is an excellent point right there, because I'm sure that, there are some things a newer audience might have caught, say the Midsommar part.
Mm-hmm.
But, who knows if they would have caught the Evil Dead part, because even the remake doesn't kind of, the house is different. It's not that way. So there are other things in there they might not have caught. So of course it's fresher. And obviously they did something right here because they ended up on Netflix one way or the other. Not to say every film that's great on Netflix, but they did something right.
It's funny because, I don't consider myself an old guy or anything, but on Facebook, people will put like, oh, I just checked out, what was the movie? The Cell. And Muse, that can go back to your segment as well. The Cell is one of the most mindfuck movies you can watch. I'm surprised I forgot about that. We love that movie, The Cell. And somebody just wrote like, I just watched The Cell. What do you guys think of it? I'm like, well, why haven't you seen that movie before? And then that's the way I look at it. Like I take for granted of, a 20-year-old, and I'm 20 years their senior. I've seen all these great 80 movies. They hadn't, So I don't know. It's just something we need to take into consideration for a newer audience. They may not catch those great moments that what made horror movies they are today.
So I'm going to pull like a really Muse type thing here. I missed the complete title of the movie you're talking about. Now I really like this going crazy here. So I missed the title.
The title is A Classic Horror Story.
Okay, yes, I have not seen this one.
Actually, Muse, kind of the title was Get Your Shit Together, Muse. That was the title.
It's funny you say that. I almost posted something on Twitter that said, I'm totally getting my shit together next week. And then it says, nope, just kidding. I'll be a hot mess next week too. So that's like, that's me. But
yeah,
yeah,
you need to put that movie on reserve. No, remember you used to go to Blockbuster and put the movie on reserve? You need to get your shit together on reserve for next week.
I'm over here like, what is he talking about? He's going to say it again. He's not going to say it again. I'm over here freaking out. But now I see people talking about this one, and, you know, I have not seen it, so I can't really weigh in too much and make too much noise on this one. But I often feel like when I see things, you know, in a horror movie, like references or something like that, I feel like that's almost like an homage by a lot of horror directors. Like they love these movies. And so they want to put pieces of things they love in the film they're making as kind of like a love letter to the horror movies that they've made, that they've loved over the years. And, you know, it's kind of like their way of saying thank you. Other people might heartily disagree with me, but I guess that's the way I choose to look at it. And I feel like it's almost like a tribute of sorts. Now I'm not talking about the tropes where we always see the same thing happening, but I mean, we see things like if you're seeing something that reminds you of the Evil Dead cabin or references to Freddy and Jason or something like that, maybe a line in the movie that reminds you of one of your favorite horror movie classic quotes or something like that. I love when I see horror movies do that. And I understand, you know, it's all about keeping it fresh, but I love that. I really feel like it's tongue in cheek and I really feel like it's a way of them, you know, basically saying this is what they love. And it's just including it in, but I've not seen this one. And, you know, hearing you guys talk about it, I agree with Ken. I want to see it now. But I've seen folks talking about this one and I've been pretty intrigued. So that's my 2 cents on it. I don't know what else I can say. I've not seen it, so I don't want to weigh in too much, but because I don't know exactly the references. I was listening to Omar a little bit, but it just feels like almost like an homage. Like, you know, I love this movie and I'm going to put it in here as kind of like a, you know, like a thank you, like this movie rocked. And I just got to include this favorite memory in the film I'm making. So that's my 2 cents on it.
You're still trying to get over 3 muses. That's the problem. You still just can't.
I'm like, where's that restaurant?
We talked about mind-blowing stuff, and you had a Scanners moment and blew your head.
Right,
and
I'm over here
like,
yes.
Is Chris causing problems, and he's not even here. Good grief. Anyway, we'll jump into the news real quick. I always like to try to start with some like remake, reboot sort of news. The Chucky series, we should have a trailer this weekend. I believe they're going to release that at the Comic-Con events. We've had a teaser, we've had images, we've had cast news. So lots going on in that. And of course, that's the Chucky series that's coming to Sci-Fi. And also we've had some Halloween Kills, more information about that. And we've had images and all that coming out. So, you know, we're like I said last week, you know, we're getting really ready to go down the stretch here into complete horror in October and even before. And the tradition, I'm going to say, fuck yeah. Jennifer Carpenter will make an appearance in the new Dexter series that's coming up. So obviously we all know that she's known for how many times she said fuck in the show. So hopefully she gets a few more to go to her account there. For those who like What We Do in the Shadows, season 3 will start in September 2nd, and they released a teaser for that. You know, I don't know. I'm still 50-50 in the show. I have some episodes I like and some I just I don't get it. Halloween Horror Nights, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Bride of Frankenstein, 2 of the latest events, houses that have been named to that great event. The one in Universal Orlando, I totally recommend that. If you're interested in a haunted attraction, I know some people are still iffy on going out, but still recommend that. Poster and trailer for James Wan's Malignant just got released, so that'd be interesting, and I believe that's out in a month or 2. Lots of DVD, Blu-ray news out there, so I'm just going to kind of list a couple of them. Friday the 13th, because we can't get enough. Limited edition steelbook for 8 films. I know they just come up with all these different versions. That'll be coming out in October. Haunting of Bly Manor, October 12th. Misery 4K Ultra will be out October 12th. Clarice season 1, if you missed it, and The Stand will be out on Blu-ray October 5th. Stay Out of the Attic and Shook, both movies that I believe were on Shudder. They'll be out August 17th. So that's just a few amongst the many that are hitting Blu-ray and DVD and those two last ones also I think are coming out on digital as well. The Stairs One Night special movie event, August 12th, presented by Phantom Events. If you're looking for another horror movie to get out, maybe one that not as many people know of, I was just given a screener, so I'll hopefully get to catch that soon and give a report on that eventually. This one's for Chris, even though he's not here, because I know he can only like a movie like this, and I know he loved part one. Is Ouija Shark Part 2 is in production. Yes, I believe. Go to his blog. The review is there. I'm pretty certain that I hooked up with that one. But yeah, we'll see about that. I don't know. And my recommendation is going to be, even though I just spoiled most of the movie, is a classic horror story. Again, check it out. Have fun with it. Go along with what I said. Now that you got a head start, look for the other horror movies that are in it as long, as you go, and then see where this movie ends, and kind of think about what they're trying to make. But that's going to be my recommendation this week. I mentioned the chat. Someone, I think it was John, might have mentioned Fear Street. I need to get to part 3 and finish that, and then maybe I'll make some commentary on that in a future episode. So yeah, that will be it for the 666 rundown.
Yeah, I got to get on that Fear Street, man. My brother called me or texted me, and he's watching it because he's got a newborn, so he's got a lot of time on his hands, and he said he loves it. So I got to watch that one. Anyway, no Chris tonight. We won't do a review, but you guys watch the interview, listen to the interview, and I think you guys should check this movie out. It's a really fun movie, Making a Murder or Faking a Murder, and we had a really good time with that. So let's bring it on home. Really fun night tonight. I got to say what's up to everybody in the chat room, the unusual suspects, as we call them. Lots of good stuff. I'm telling you right now, it's a lot of fun. Come in, say hi, meet a new friend, and just talk horror. Get involved with the show. We do a lot of fun stuff on the show, and we laugh a lot, and it's really kind-hearted people. It's hard to find good people on the internet sometimes. There's a lot of weirdos out there, but I've a good feeling about everybody that kind of travels in our spooky little circle here. Anyway, let's do some shout outs real quick. HorrO, you want to go ahead and go for it?
Sure. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to give a shout out here to a past guest, and that is from the honeymoon phase when we did that episode, and that is Chloe Carroll. I think she mentioned it, when we usually ask, where we can find you or whatever, that she does some short horror films, and she also one of the ones that runs Fear Crypt on YouTube, and she has a new one out that'll be out tomorrow, and she shared it with me, and I got to watch it, and I just reviewed it, called Alyssa. So I hope everybody out there checks that out. It'll be live on their YouTube channel tomorrow. I did a review at HorrO's Gory Reviews. You can check that out if you can't find it. If you can't find it anyway, ask me. I'll hook you up with the link or wherever you can find it. But shout out to her for letting me watch the short early and doing a review. I appreciate it. And if you haven't seen the honeymoon phase, please check that out as well. We did an episode of that. So that's my main shout out. Reminder that festivals and horror conventions are going wild, going crazy, and picking up steam. So if you're one of the ones in an area or brave enough to go out, please support them, support their movies, support their events. Just some great stuff happening there. I'll be mentioning more soon about movies and conventions as well there. As always, love horror, love the horror community, and spread the horror.
Very nice.
Oh, and Muse, you better. We want the hunky boy story. Don't think I forgot.
No, he's right here. He's right here. He's a little nervous, guys, so go easy on him. So I'm going to pass it to Jamie. We watched Psycho Gorman just yesterday, so I told him to give his little short, super quick review. We don't have Chris tonight, so I thought Jamie would sit in and give his Psycho Gorman review. We had a lot of fun watching it, so here he is.
Yeah, it was off the chain. The movie was great. I love the kills. Where he made the staff or whatever out of the body parts. That was super cool. I like where the cop got killed, where he changed him into that bobblehead looking dude. And then I like the where Mimi takes the head and throws it down the street, and the dad actually runs it over with the truck. that was popping right there. And then yeah, so that was pretty cool of all that stuff. I like the dad. The dad was pretty cool. Man, Psycho Gorman, dude, man, he was playing a game on him, where the girl, Mimi, the brother, he tries to take him and talks about how he's playing a sick game. My man playing a sick game on them, dude. I don't know who's taking a deuce, and then my man is taking a deuce, and it comes out of a mirror, man. I'll throw a bar of soap in his ass. I'm like, what the fuck, So yeah, that was cool. But Mimi was great, and it reminds me of a time where you look at the crazy ball game and like how it was played, and like I don't know about you, but back in the day when we played games, when we went outside, we played this game called kickball, and I remember a time to where we played kickball to where boys and girls, especially the boys, just let them cheat. Just let them cheat.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying by that is like, well, we played this game and the girls kept changing the rules. It was first, don't hit you in the head. Then it was just hit the body. And then it was just, tag the base, then tag them. So then there was an episode where these girls went to the base and this boy went to the base. And so with it, he tried to get them. And so all we know is they kicked us right in the nuts. So that was the end of the game. So
Jamie's off on some other stuff. I don't know what he's doing.
So boys and girls, all I gotta say, just let the girls cheat. Just let them cheat.
That's right.
Crazy ball.
That's right.
Jamie, before you go, I haven't formally spoken to you, but I feel like I know you. I feel your pain, for only 2 hours of the night, but of the week, I should say. But yeah, man, thanks so much for letting Muse do the show with us, and I thank you for your participation also in the chat room. I know that Muse was very apprehensive of doing the show, and I think that maybe you encouraged her as well to get up there and do the show. So thank you so much, brother. Man, it was nice hearing your interview. Maybe we get you on again, man.
Absolutely.
All right. He was super nervous, guys. So I'm really glad that he did that. That was a big thing for him. So that was pretty awesome. And I was really geeked. He watched it with me. He doesn't do horror that often, but he had a blast with that one. So yeah, that no shout outs. That was the shout out to Psycho Gorman and all the fun we had for sure.
That's awesome. Listen, just a quick shout out again to the unusual suspects. The quick rundown: John Grant in the room, Luna, Mike, HorrO, you're in there, Luke. I love saying Luke's name. Luke. Who else? It kind of just tails off here. You guys talk. Oh, James Boogeyman. Oh, just a real quick shout out for James here. You can follow him on his website. He does a lot of cool creature drawings and art. It's Creature Core. You can find him on Instagram at J_Boogeyman. So J Boogeyman, James Boogeyman, you're my buddy. Thank you so much for all that you do for the show behind the scenes. And we'll get that stuff rolled out pretty soon. And just a shout out again to all our followers and listeners. I thank you to you guys, HorrO and Muse. A shout out to Chris and Casey who aren't here tonight. And yeah, we got some good stuff coming up for you guys and next week. And we'll see what happens after that. Till next week, keep it scary, my friends.